श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारी भरनौ रघुबर विमल सु जो दायक फल चारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। Today for a few minutes, all that you have learned in meditation in this divine place, in the presence of Gurudev, you take your mind through meditation as we have done all these days. Today do it on your own. In time you will learn the art that whatever may be the situation, conditions, sounds, externally, you can still be in silence and be able to assert, guide, and calm your equipments. Keeping the body steady, requesting the body to be relaxed, calm. Practice on your own. with eyes closed. Let us chant, and you can repeat after me. The Hanuman mantra that Pujya Gurudev gave us at the feet of our Veer Hanuman. Here at Sidhbari. Om Shri Ramadutaya Namaha. 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 Shri Ramadutaya Namaha. Atulita baladhamam hema shailabadeham danujavana krishanam jnaninamagraganyam sakala gunanidhanam vanaranamadisham raghupati priya bhaktam vatajatam namami. Raghupati priya bhaktam vatajatam namami. Om Anjaneyaya vidmahe Ramadutaya dhimahi Tanno Hanuman prachodayat. In these last few days, we have seen these very beautiful verses helping us to surrender, to bow down, to adore this great devotee of Bhagwan, this Ramaduta Sri Hanumanji. Infinite is the potential of our mind. But when our mind behaves like the uncontrolled, agitated, fickle monkey, even though strong, stubborn, relentless, just as the mighty rays of the sun, when dispersed by the atmosphere, gives us light and heat, but that powerful rays of the sun, when through a convex lens is directed to a point, it can burn a piece of wood easily. Just that little patch of light. In the same way, infinite is the potential of our mind, and rarely do we recognize, as much as we may boast of ourselves or of our achievements, there is much more that our minds can achieve. If the rishis gave us that knowledge as well as that technique by which we could discover the infinite, then there is nothing that is not possible with this mind. Therefore, it is our best friend, our worst enemies. We take glory in holding on to our limitations, our limited notion of ourselves, from where rises our selfishness, regrets, anxieties, worries, and therefore our rishis have given us means through these namaskaras, through these offerings, surrendering, these sadhanas, and these simple verses that remind us the glory of Hanumanji and what we admire, what we think, our mind becomes. It takes up that form. So one of the ways is through namaskaras. But in the namaskaras, we surrender our worries, our anxieties, our fears, our limitations, and begin to recognize that divine mighty presence in us. When we glorify Hanumanji, we also find out how we can achieve, and even if it would be a particle of that glory, life would indeed be a life of great achievement and fulfillment. The whole world is available as resource for us, for our sustenance, even for our fulfillment of desires. The whole world is spread giving us joy. And this nature is what we call as Lakshmi. And Mother Lakshmi is there for everyone. There's enough in this world for each one's need. There's not enough in this universe for one person's greed. Ravan tried to aggrandize, kidnap, capture, and keep Lakshmi for himself, separated from Narayana, the spiritual goals, the spiritual values. Where there is selfishness, there is adharma. Where there is self-inclusiveness, there is. So where there is selfishness, there is adharma. Where there is self-inclusiveness, there is dharma. When we live a life of dharma, then the whole universe is there to bless us. And the abilities that arise from within us, the strength, the skills, the achievements that we gain is far superior than just getting some objects of our desires and hoarding a certain amount of wealth. And whatever we hoard, if it is not used, then not only it decays, it diminishes in its value, it depreciates, but when it starts putrefying, then artham anartham bhavaya nityam nasti tata sukalesha satyam. Ravan wanted Sita for himself and his entire Lanka. Whatever with our ego and selfishness we achieve, it is possible because the divine only functions through this ego. Without consciousness, even this ego cannot function. Yet when we become selfish, greedy, harmful to others, want our joy at the expense of other people's sorrow, then that Lakshmi burns the entire Lanka. And overnight, wealth, power, fame, health, overnight can decline. But Hanumanji sought Mother Lakshmi in the service of Narayana, in the service of Sri Ram, and she blessed him with Ashta Siddhi Navanidhi Ke Data. Not only blessed him with these 8 mighty abilities and powers. They are listed in the Yoga Shastra as Anima, Mahima, Garima, Laghima, Prapti, Prakamya, Ishitam, Vashitva. We are quite fascinated by these siddhis, for which many years of austerities, concentration, yogic practices, that one develops these siddhis, which can even come, and if you misuse it or overuse it, it can diminish. But Mother Lakshmi, Adi Parashakti, she blesses Hanumanji with Ashta Siddhi Navanidhi Ke Data, and the 9 forms of wealth. They are also listed as Padma, Mahapadma, Kharva, Shankha. All these things have been listed. Very often people don't understand what it is. But the 9 treasures of the universe, not only of this world, which means you can cash it during your star travels also. Not only did she bestow on him, she gave him the blessings to bestow these powers on anyone. If you say someone is a billionaire, you can't understand, but that billionaire donated $10 billion, and generally we know we only donate a fraction of our income. Then you can imagine how much more he has. And such blessings that Mother Sita gives, because Hanumanji is ready to give it to anyone who is devoted to Sri Ram. Ashta Siddhi Navanidhi Ke Data Asvardina Janaki Mata. And when Mother Sita gave this blessing, now can you imagine if there be a person who is such a philanthropist who can donate billions of dollars to whoever comes to him? Can you imagine what will be the presence, the reputation, the fame, the popularity of that person? And who has got all the 9 forms of the universal wealth to give. So you can imagine. And a devotee full of compassion even goes to Ravan and tells him the secret of having an unrivaled kingdom. To as long as the world exists. Such benevolence you can find only in the devotee of the Lord. Because the devotee and the Lord are not separate from each other. Har jan har antar nahi. Yeah? That is the greatness that Mother Sita bestows on Hanumanji. Power so he already had. But that he can be the giver of it. Which means that powers, that wealth that yogis try to acquire through different sadhanas, very easily one can attain by invoking Hanumanji. But even when Mother Sita gave this blessing to Hanumanji, Hanumanji just stood there as though it was worth nothing. Then Mother Sita thought, he wants more. And that which we cannot get with our own effort, not even with any yogic practices. And she said, Ram Rasayan Tumhare Pasa Sada Raho Raghupati Ke Dasa. That may that Rasayan, that tonic of the devotion to Ramchandraji or the name of Ramchandraji ever remain with you. But Ramchandraji will ever remain with you, and you will remain with Ramchandraji always when Sada Raho Raghupati Ke Dasa. That Mother Sita has given him the blessing that may you ever remain in the service of Raghupati Ram. And that blessing, if we can get, then only that sanidhya with Ramchandraji will be there. That's why Sri Ram Chandraji used to see this. Lakshmanji vying for seva, Sitaji vying for seva. But once Hanumanji came into the picture, they had to, finally delegate the time, etc. Delegation started from that time. This much time of this much seva, this much time of this much seva, and all that. So Hanumanji just took the seva, and they didn't want Hanumanji always being there. So Hanumanji took the seva that whenever Bhagwan yawns, I don't know why they do this, but when a person yawns, so that even when Bhagwan is about to sleep, he goes there. Because Mother Sita only has said, Sada Raho. Even while Bhagwan is sleeping, you remain in his service. And that kind of blessing, everybody does not get. To have that privilege to remain in his service means remain constant in his remembrance, and those jin sevya tin paya man. Those who serve, they get the respect, they get that glory, they get that recognition from Bhagwan himself. And that is Harashi Urlai. Bhagwan picks up him and embraces him and keeps him close to his heart. Bhagwan remains ananya from that devotee. And all this, not only these powers and these wealth. And if these powers and wealth Not pretending. We can't bluff Bhagwan or Hanumanji. We want in the service of Bhagwan. Then, Ashta Siddhi Nava Nidhi ke Data Asvardeen Janaki Mata Ram Rasayan Tumare Pasa Sada Raho Raghupati ke Dasa. All these mighty powers, all the wealth that we require, all the ability, the attitude, the spirit, the dedication and the devotion to serve Ramchandra ji and Simara Simara Sukhapawa. That every moment of remembrance of Sri Ram is nothing but bliss. Because he is bliss. Turn away from bliss, there will be only sorrow. Jo sukh ko chahe sada sharan ram ki le. Yo vai bhuma tat sukham na alpe sukham asti. Those who want happiness at all times, it can be only gained from the infinite. That infinite is called as Ram, Krishna. And that devotion, that spirit of readiness to do seva, and those who are ready to serve, then Ashta Siddhi Nava Nidhi ke Data. They become the giver of such name, fame, power, and help others. Aap tare auran ko tare. They themselves cross this ocean of samsara and help many others to cross over it. We are very fascinated by these Ashta Siddhis. But what are these Ashta Siddhis that Hanumanji can give us, that we require for everything in our life? There is this very, very famous invocation of Hanumanji. Many of you would know it also, but if you see the blessings that we get by just remembering Hanumanji, just remembering Hanumanji. And they are also 8 in numbers. Buddhir balam yasho dhairyam Nirbhayatvam arogata Ajadhyam vakpatutvam cha Hanumat smaranad bhaved. Because after having heard all this, even feeling inspired, uplifted, emotional, after all we are utilitarians, no? At the end of it, mujhe kya mila? What is my take home doggy bag? Nowadays it is take home points, And after all that they'll say, I got one takeaway. One takeaway. From the bag of goodies. Here there are 8 takeaways. By Hanumat smaranad bhavet. By merely remembering Hanumanji, you have attained it. Bhavet. Buddhir. And we've already explained this, that what buddhi we require in this world. Balam, that strength to live a life of dharma. So buddhi, to know the difference between dharma and adharma. What we should be doing and what we should not be doing. How we should be doing and how we should not be doing. How we can achieve it and how we can overcome obstacles. When and how we should apply our intellect. to know the difference between the permanent and the impermanent, and the strength to renounce the impermanent, the short term, to achieve the long term, to achieve the permanent. That virya, that balam that we require on the spiritual path, that intelligence that we require to make the right choices, that balam to perform our duties and remain firm on the path of dharma, that strength that we require to master our senses and guide our senses, all this balam, yasha, fame. And fame what? In the birthday song, Guruji has said, no? Punya karmana kirti marjaya. Fame comes, that is not fame that people get on page 3 and tabloids. Not by getting many likes on your Facebook. It is that yasha which comes through dedicated seva for the well-being of everyone. That leadership, that popularity that comes. And as we said, Jin sevya tin paya man. That yasha. And what is the greatest yasha? Raghupati kini bahut badai. That Bhagwan himself praises his devotee. That yasha, who is God? But that yasha, that we make our parents, our nation, our culture, our guru, feel proud of us, that yasha. Dhairya, that perseverance, that fortitude, not to stop till we reach our goal. Nirbhayatvam, freedom from fear, because tum rachak kahu ko darna. And most of all, no fear of failure. Because in Lord's work, we cannot afford to fail. Yeah? And if it doesn't work out, as Gurudev says, it is his responsibility. You do your best. Nirbhayatvam. Arogata. Physical and mental illnesses. Freedom from that. Arogata. And I have already given you one example, but I'll give you many. I can give you many examples. It doesn't even take a second for your ill health to turn into good health. Arogata. Ajadhyam. Freedom from lack of motivation, procrastination, laziness, the blocked feeling, no progress, depression, ajadhyam, freedom from all that. Vakpadutvam, eloquence. And eloquence is required not just for giving big lectures, but even the smallest things that we need to convince and inspire people into. Vakpatutvam cha, Hanumat smaranat bhaved. These ashta siddhis we can get by just remembering Hanumanji. Because he is the highest potential of our own mind. And that mind, when it turns with devotion to Sri Ram and ever ready to serve all these siddhis, instantly manifest in that person. These capacities instantly manifest in the person, and there is nothing that that person cannot make happen, because the blessings and grace of Bhagwan, and in fact all the devatas, are there on Hanumanji. And therefore it is said that such a person, when he is ready to serve, the entire universe contrives, all the devatas come forward giving their blessings to make it happen. So therefore these are the blessings, and therefore these beautiful verses, whether one of them or all 7 of them, 6 that were Namaskara and this Falashruti, these 7 of them, or at least one a day over 7 days. Start from a Sunday, end on a Saturday. And you can get all these blessings. Ma Sucha. Don't ever feel sad, helpless or miserable, because tum rachak kahu ko dharna. So now the next 3 days will be our worship, glorification and the Mastak Abhishek of Sri Veer Hanuman, as Pujya Gurudev had initiated us into, and we are going to be doing that. These 3 days with constant remembrance, with devotion, participate, and as Gurudev said, it's one of the highest forms of worship. We'll conclude now, and then there are a few more announcements. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.